We have the season finale of Alien Earth now on Disney Plus that released last night. So today I am going to review the show. Now, if you don't know, I have reviews of episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4 out on the channel already, and then I just got behind, so I didn't review 5, 6, 7, or 8. I just reviewed those first 4, and so in this video, I'll be telling you what I thought of the final 4 episodes, as well as my overall thoughts on the show. I highly recommend you go check out my reviews of the first 4 episodes on my channel, because I'm going to kind of briefly recap what I think of the show, but also that is very important to understand my thoughts on the show as a whole. And with that said, before I dive into my review, it would do me a huge favor if you'd subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, and comment down below. What are your opinions on Alien Earth? I would love to know all that and more in the comment section. And with that said, the first 4 episodes got me really hyped for the rest of the season. The first episode I did not vibe with whatsoever. I thought it was just really weird and, quite frankly, incredibly stupid. The second episode won me back. After the first episode lost me, the second episode won me back with the Carnage Candy with the Xenomorph. And then episode 3 and 4 started asking questions that I thought were genuinely interesting. I was completely invested in the questions that they were asking and the story at hand, and I was very excited to see what they would do with the rest of the show. With that said, I do think the final 4 episodes really do work. I really feel like it is a very good show. It closed out very, I wouldn't say satisfying, specifically how the final episode closes out, but it closed out a lot of the plot lines in a satisfying way, where I had my theories, and a lot of the theories were debunked. Kind of had me invested the entire time. A lot of the show is dialogue heavy. The dialogue kept me invested, but we'll talk about specifics in the show after I talk about what I thought of the individual episodes. And again, just like my recap, I'll go kind of quickly over these. Episode 5, I think, is one of the best episodes of sci-fi television I have seen in my entire life, because again, in my episode 1 and 2 review, I said that I really wish we saw the carnage that happened on the ship instead of that being relegated to a 5-minute sequence. Well, we get that as its own individual episode, and it's awesome. It's a slow burn, slowly building up to the moment where all things are going to go wrong, and then all things go wrong, and it is satisfying, but it's also kind of scary, because that one episode makes you care for the characters. So, genuinely one of the most perfect episodes of television I've seen in a long time, and I really, really wish that I was caught up on the show so I could have an own individual review. Instead, that's all I can say about the episode, because I got a lot of stuff I got to talk about here, and I don't want this video to be too long for you guys. And then episode 6 and 7, I'm not going to make a 6-7 joke, but they're good episodes. They are really good episodes. Close out a lot of plot lines, whether it's with Anush, I think is his name, and what he's got to do with Morrow talking to him, and he gets the guy to get the face hugger on. But I was thinking it was going to be Marcy's brother, but it wasn't. It was the husband of the doctor who was transporting the kids' bodies into the... Names are hard, guys. I can't really remember the names. I think it was Aaron or something like that. And I really liked how it closed out that plot line, specifically because you actually like Aaron, or whatever his name is, because he's actually kind of a good guy. He's standing up to the people that are wanting to do the bad things to the kids. He actually cares about these kids. And you have Anush doing it for his family, but he basically kills the guy. Actually, I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that specific aspect and how that plot line closed out in the season. You also get the stuff with Marcy, or Wendy, whatever. She's got 2 names. Being able to talk to the Xenomorph, which I'm not really the biggest fan in the Alien franchise when you get sequences where the characters are talking to the Xenomorphs. I think it's weird. I'm sorry. I think it's really weird where you have a character that is just talking to an alien. And in this show, it kind of makes the alien seem like the good guy, which is really weird. But I wasn't too affected by it. I didn't hate it that much, specifically because it allowed for some very cool sequences in the show, but I was a little mixed on how they did that. I was honestly a little mixed on how they handled Wendy's character as a whole. And then episode 8, I feel, closes out in a cool way, but also in a way that I was left like, it's super easy to add another 15 minutes to this episode and make it longer so we can get a satisfying conclusion. And it feels like the creators were like, hey, you're going to have to wait till season 2. Season 2 is coming, and then you guys can check out what actually happens. Wait a year or two. Yeah. Joke's on you. Funny thing is, the season 2 is not even confirmed yet. So we don't know what happens at the end of episode 8. But I do like a lot of things they did in that episode, specifically with the eyeball creature. Let's talk about specifics about the show as a whole. And what I really loved about the show was the characters that we fell in love with and the ideas that were represented to us. Sydney Chandler as Wendy, I honestly wasn't the biggest fan of her character. I feel like a lot of things she did was a little bit weird, and the ideas that they explored with her were a little bit odd, but her performance is still really well, and I am just going down by the list of the names on Google. That's how I'm talking about the names. Timothy Oliphant as Kirsch, really good in here. He was just kind of like a side character, but I really enjoyed him. Lily Newmark as Nibs, again, another one of the side characters that I do like her, and I think the more the show goes on, the more interesting her character became. Even though they don't really pay off anything of her being pregnant, they just kind of alluded to she's got trauma in her past, but we don't really explore what that trauma is. So, okay, yeah, you do that. Alex Lothar as Hermit was very good in the show, and I loved his relationship with Sydney Chandler. Samuel Blenkin as Boy Cavalier, dude, is amazing in the show. He is such an interesting character, where I could see someone looking at this character and saying, they're representing him as the smartest man on the planet, but he's kind of a dumbass. He's doing everything he can to put these people in danger. Stupid. That, where I have to say, I kind of disagree with you. I think that he did make wrong decisions, but it was kind of him being a kid, kind of him being overzealous. What's the word I'm looking for? Overambitious, cocky, where he thinks that he can do anything he wants, and that kind of just puts him in trouble. And he just keeps moving on from idea to idea, whether it's putting the kids into the bodies or exploring the eyeball alien or all the other aliens and all that. And this performance was really good. It's just kind of this jittery kid who can actually kind of be a little disturbing a little bit. I thought he was one of the best characters in the season. Babao Ceesay, I really hope I'm saying his name right, as Morrow is again another really interesting character. A character that the show can make you despise, as he's literally going off after killing people for Weyland-Yutani. But then you get sequences where it's alluded that he has a family, and he sacrificed his entire life for this company and this mission. Specifically a sequence in episode 5 where he's just sitting around and waiting for something to happen, and he's looking at pictures of his daughter, and genuinely brought a tear to my eye when they read the note and read the thing that his daughter passed away, learning all the sacrifices he does. This was a character that was so compelling, felt so dangerous, but also felt so trustworthy, and I feel like a big part of that was the performance by Babao Ceesay. I really hope I'm saying his last name right. The new aliens in the show introduced are perfect. I see when people look at the xenomorph and say, oh, it's not really that scary. A lot of it's shot in daytime outside in the woods. But I also don't think the CGI on it was necessarily as good as the movies. Pretty obviously, because the movies definitely had a bigger budget than the show. But still, I did like the xenomorph, but he didn't look as intimidating in the show. But you get other aliens, whether it's the fly that just spits venom from its mouth, really cool. The plant that was introduced in the last episode that swallows people up, really cool. The eyeball. The eyeball is the one standout to me because it's just an eyeball that embeds itself into your eye, rips it out, and stuffs itself in there. And by the end of the season, we see that it stuffs into Arthur. And yes, I can see right here on my computer that it is Arthur. His name is Arthur, the guy who had the chest burster. Embeds it into Arthur, and I really think the design of the eyeball alien is really creepy. And again, with Boy Cavalier, and he's trying to have a conversation between the eyeball creature, which I thought was really, really interesting. So the creatures in this show were really good. I feel the plot enables us to ask questions, to be interested in it, while also leaving us with something to think about after the end of each episode. After the end of each episode had me think of the theories for the future, but not only that, but explores themes like, are robots, are droids, do they have humanity in them? Which I feel the answer is pretty obvious for this show, yes, because you can very obviously see that the characters have humanity in them. But it explores that. It explores what someone would do to meet someone smarter than him. It explores all kinds of plots and theories like that. And I thought it was really cool. And overall, the plot itself is really smart, has building tension near the back half of the season, where it's just kind of this war between Yutani and Prodigy. Really cool idea, and introduces a lot of really cool things that can be introduced in the Alien franchise in the future. So I like the story, I love the cast, I love the new aliens in here. Overall, I thought Alien Earth was a pretty big hit. It is one of my favorite things in the Alien franchise, and I cannot wait for season 2. Now, a couple minor negatives in here. There were some bad decisions, like I mentioned with Boy Cavalier. I understand his decisions, but then again, I could see a lot of people sitting down and thinking, this guy's kind of stupid. This guy is actually really dumb because all of his decisions put people in danger. So I could completely understand a lot of characters making stupid decisions that a lot of people, unlike myself, could not get behind. Also, like I mentioned, the Xenomorph doesn't look as intimidating as he does in the movies, and that could also really distract a lot of people. So I think if you get past a couple of the weird ideas, you get fully invested in the story, it really is an intense version of the Alien franchise. It does lean on things that you want to see from the Alien franchise, things that you saw in Alien, a lot of things that you see in Aliens, and specifically it takes a lot of stuff from Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection with the communicating with the alien plot with Sydney, but it takes a lot of that, but also adds a unique spin to it, and overall made a story that made me excited to click on the next episode and to see more of into this specific version of this universe. So overall, for me, Alien Earth was a pretty big hit. It did have a couple flaws, but it is one of my favorite shows of the year so far. I just really wish they didn't end off at a cliffhanger, because I cannot wait to watch the next episode. It feels like I'm gotta wait for next Tuesday. Imagine they release like a surprise episode. I would love it if they did that. But no, they're going to make us wait for season 2. So before I give you my final score, please make sure to subscribe, like button, hit the bell, and comment down below what are your opinions on Alien Earth. If you have finished it, and if you have not finished it, are you looking forward to the rest of the season? Or if you haven't even started, are you looking forward to the show? I would love to know all that and more. And with that said, Alien Earth is a pretty big hit for me. It takes things from the rest of the Alien franchise, incorporates it in here, and has a story that could be off-putting to some, but raised questions for me, and it had me invested. Alien Earth, I thought, was a pretty big success inside the Alien universe. I just wish they closed it out a little bit better. And there were a couple bad ideas sprinkled throughout here, but overall, this was one I just really enjoyed. That's why Alien Earth, I am going to give an A. Thank you guys for clicking on this review. Stay tuned for my Alien franchise ranking, where you get to see where I put Alien Earth. And with that said, subscribe.